Rules apply to everyone, including foreigners. If you can't follow the rules, then just don't come to Japan.
So let me tell you a story. On my way home around 6 p.m., I was riding my train home. On a weekday, the train was absolutely packed. I stood near an Indian father and daughter. When someone in front of me stood up to leave, I naturally took the seat because it was in front of me. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed the daughter trying to push her way in. She even gave me a smirk like, "You beat me to it." I mean, I was in front of the seat. Naturally, I'm the one who should take it. So I just minded my own business and just played my game on my phone. And then on the next stop, a seat became available. This time, the daughter elbowed her way to that seat, leaving people around in silence. So they were just looking at her. She looked maybe around 18 years old. Then she shouted at her father to come sit beside her, even there was clearly no space. And guess what? The father squeezed himself in, leaving the Japanese woman beside him to stand up and give up her seat. I felt bad for the lady, so I offered my seat to her. I looked at the father and daughter, thinking that maybe they would have some kind of remorse or something. There was no hint, even a single drop of guilt in their faces. So the moment stuck with me, and it's not the first time I've seen something like this. Let me be clear from the start of this video. Do not impose your culture. Do not impose your religion. Japan is not your country. You're just a visitor. Whether you like it or not, you should follow the rules and also the culture. Over the years, I've witnessed foreigners in Japan ignoring rules that Japanese people treat as second nature. I've seen people running across busy streets against the lights, throwing wrappers on the ground, urinating or spitting in public, listening to loud music on trains where everyone else stays silent, loitering and littering outside convenience stores, cutting in line, pushing past others. And here's the thing, I have never seen a Japanese person do these things, not even once. As a foreigner myself, I cringe when I see this because I know how it looks. I know that some people might lump me into the same category, even though I try my best to respect the culture. I don't want to be hated for something I don't even do. Which brings us to the bigger picture. What's really going on in Japan right now? On August 30th, 2025 in Osaka, there was a protest. People marched through the streets holding banners against mass immigration. One of those banners read, "Don't make Japan Africa." Now, at first glance, that sounds xenophobic, maybe even racist. And many people online immediately jump to that conclusion. But if you take the time to actually read the news reports and listen to what people are saying, the reality is more complicated. These people aren't simply saying, "We hate foreigners." What they're afraid of is something deeper. Of course, there are a lot of racist people out there, not only in Japan, but also in different countries. Everywhere, it's everywhere. There's no perfect country. What Japanese people fear is that if Japan accepts too many immigrants too quickly, the society, the culture, and the sense of community cohesion that Japan is known for will begin to disappear. And when you think about it, this fear isn't coming out of nowhere. Japan runs on harmony, on unwritten rules, on an incredible amount of mindfulness for others. People line up properly, keep noise levels down, clean up after themselves, and respect shared spaces. So when newcomers don't follow these unspoken rules, it just doesn't look rude. It feels like a threat to the social fabric itself. Imagine yourself. You have a visitor, and that visitor modifies your house, painted your walls red, rearranged your sofa, put a little bit of their own decorations in your house. How would you feel if that guest invades your space and changes everything that you're used to? I want to break down the main fears that people have here. So the cultural harmony. Japan has survived for centuries by keeping order and respecting traditions. If too many people ignore those unwritten rules, the harmony breaks. Identity. Some worry that if mass immigration happens too fast, Japanese culture could be diluted or even lost. Safety and order. Whether fair or not, bad behavior from foreigners creates a perception that society is becoming less safe, less clean, and less orderly. I have to admit, when I go to Shibuya and there's this convenience store, when I pass by that area, it's really dirty and you wouldn't even see Japanese people hang out there often. Maybe you would see one or two, but most of the people there are foreigners. Economic versus social balance. Japan desperately needs workers because of its aging population. But people ask, at what cost to the society we've built? That's the truth. When you go to places like the airport, you would see the workers there. They are the elderly. Even McDonald's, old people also work there. And that's just the reality that Japan is facing. For me, as a foreigner, I understand this fear. I don't agree with extreme rhetoric, and I don't like seeing banners that sound racist. But I do understand their concern, because every time I see a foreigner cutting corners, disrespecting the culture, or acting like the rules don't apply to them, I feel the same cringe, and I know I'm not the only one. I think the responsibility lies with us. If we choose to live in Japan, we also choose to respect the culture that exists here. The rules may not always be written on paper, but they're there. And they're what makes life here work so smoothly. That's what I admire about Japan. People don't need to be told every little thing. They already know how to act in ways that don't inconvenience others. So when foreigners don't make the effort to blend in, it doesn't just make them look bad. It makes all of us look bad. Now, as a Filipino, I try to look at my fellow Filipinos living or having a vacation in Japan. And what's shocking about this is that Filipinos surprisingly act better when they are in a different country than when they're back in the Philippines. They follow every single rule and they mind every single thing they do. They bow, say arigato in a very weird accent. I remember one time I was on an escalator and there were Filipinos in front of me. One of them told the other one, because she was standing on the right side of the escalator and you can't stand there when you're in Tokyo. So she said like, "Uy, tanga, bawal dyan, dito ka." Literally means that, are you stupid? You can't stand there. Come move here. I smiled at that point and I was so proud of these Filipinos because they are visitors and they are trying their best to follow the culture that is already existing in Japan. I've also seen different foreigners, of course. Not all foreigners are bad. So why am I saying this? Why do I feel like I have the right to talk about this? It will greatly affect me if a lot of people would think that foreigners are a threat to social balance in Japan. And I don't want that to happen. What I'm trying to say right now is when you try to come to Japan, I want you to understand that there's already an existing culture that you need to follow. There are rules that you need to learn that you don't have in your country. I know you've seen this video before. It is the most annoying thing I've ever seen. How could you do that in a train when you see everyone is quiet, everyone is busy, or everyone is tired? How can a person do that? Let me just give you some of the highlights that nuisance foreigners have done or did this year. So an incident in Shibuya, a foreigner climbed on a Family Mart roof yelling, "I did it," before police intervened. This was widely reported in local media. Also, a very recent case where an Australian tourist filmed himself drinking an offering left at a grave in the Aokigahara forest near Mount Fuji. The offering was meant as a tribute. So many saw this as deeply offensive. The video spread widely, causing public backlash. You know, these things happen everywhere. But Japan is known for the stability of the society and how people follow the rules. Japan isn't asking you to be perfect. It's asking you to be respectful. This country has opened its doors, its traditions, and its everyday life for people to experience. But if you can't follow even the simplest rules, if you can't show the same courtesy that people here extend to you, then maybe Japan isn't the place for you. For those who can, Japan will give you memories, kindness, and beauty that you'll carry forever. So if you come with respect. That's all you need to do. So I know this week's video is a little bit different from what I usually do. I really want to put this message across, especially these days where tourism and foreigners are everywhere. And I feel happy for that because, you know, the economy in Japan is gonna get stronger. I don't know, it just feels livelier seeing tourists around. Not like when it was during Corona, there were no tourists around and you would see the streets empty. So please, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. I'm not saying that all foreigners are bad. There are a lot of nice, respectful foreigners that I see. Most of the foreigners are like that. But when you come here, please be at your best. So thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you in another day in my life. Johnny.